You are listening to the Mark Guzman Podcast Experience. We are live here now. So basically what you want to do is just talk at the mic. You don't have to be like up close to it.
Okay.
So
just towards it?
Yeah, it's a good mic. It'll pick up a lot of stuff. What I'm doing here for the podcast is a different series. So most of the series are going to be like interviews one-on-one with people. We also video record it. This is going to be purely audio. And what it's going to be called is Real Estate at Large, #real. And my goal with this is to really just sit down with real estate industry professionals, mainly real estate agents, go over various topics, get your opinion, your feedback, and hopefully this is something that we can even put out through the Young Professionals Network or any of the, my podcast, Facebook, all the other different avenues. And, if it can help a few people and different agents do business, then it's a win-win for, I think, everyone. So I want to introduce the two agents here that I have with me in front of me. We have Ronald Garcia and Kyle DeGennaro, both with my company here, Security Pacific Real Estate. Say hi, guys.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
So today we're going to discuss 10 ways to increase lead generation in real estate. So why don't we just get right into it? And the very first one is cold calling. Do you guys do cold calling? What do you think about it?
Well, for me, it kind of depends on what you consider cold calling. So I do, as you know, I do the Zillow thing. I do get these leads that come in. It's kind of warm because I know that they're looking at a house. But oftentimes when I call them, they have no idea what that entails or what they need to do. So it's still kind of like a cold call. That's where I get most of mine from. I don't go through like a phone book or do any kind of like a farm or an area or like targeted people. I just kind of throw something out there for the internet to bring them to me and then see what I can do with them.
Okay.
I'm still doing cold calling. I've been in the industry for 3 years, and I'm still doing that from people that I met 3 years ago. I think I considered those cold calling.
So how do you do that?
So basically, I have a database that I've been keeping ever since I started on a spreadsheet, and then people that I haven't closed. Basically, what I do is I go back to my list and I call them every 3 to 6 months to see where they're at and kind of find out where they're at. And if they haven't been pre-qualified, I get them into that process, and hopefully I close them for the next 3 months or so.
How often do you call them?
Every 3 months.
Okay. And if you call like one time, do you call them, let's say you get their voicemail, do you wait, maybe an hour or something before you call them back? Maybe do you call them the following day? Like, do you have some kind of set schedule or protocol that you follow?
I do. So I call them first. If I don't get them on the phone, basically I leave a message. And then after the message, what I tried is a text message later on that day. And if I don't get an answer, I'll wait about 2 days and I call them again until I get them on the phone and go from there.
Okay. I know Inman Connect and NAR, the National Association of Realtors, came out with a study, and it was really interesting. They had this down at the winter meetings this year. Mm-hmm. When you cold call people, the actual answer rate is anywhere from about 15 to 20%. And that's the actual answer rate when someone calls you. But so most people are not going to answer your call when you call them up. However, when you call immediately after a second time, that answer rate jumps up to about 30%. So it almost doubles. And if you think about the psychology behind it, if you get a call from someone you don't know, like you don't recognize the number, you're not going to answer, right? Typically, you don't answer. But if someone calls again, there's an urgency to it, or there's that psychology.
It makes you curious. You want to know what's on the other end.
Exactly. So that's why the double or the rate of answer doubles just by calling a second time if they don't answer. And then they went further in the study, and you have to make a total of 6 phone calls to get up to about a 60% answer rate. So it's very interesting, and I think a lot of leads are dropped when you don't make those 6 phone calls. You want to make 2 immediately, then you want to make another one, then another one, and that's 6 within like a few minutes, but you want to give it maybe a couple hours or even a few days. But as long as you make 6 phone calls, you increase that answer rate from 15 to 60%.
Yeah, see, I do a lot of follow up with people from Zillow. Like this one lady, Maribel, that I'm working with right now. She reached out to me like maybe like 3 months ago, and I've just kind of like kept following up. I knew that she wasn't quite there. So if I can find something right away that I can follow up on, I'll keep following up with them. For me, it's almost the same as when somebody calls me that one time. If they don't answer that one time, they just contacted me. I get them within the first 5 minutes. So if they just contacted me and they're not answering my phone call and they're not going to return my message, I might give them another phone call, but most likely I won't. It's the people that are really proactive in it, because if they're going to work with me, I also want to know that they're going to be proactive and that they're going to be moving just as fast as I am. And if they're reaching out to me and then all of a sudden they're not available to answer the phone, that kind of sets the pace for what the whole transaction may be. And I don't want to spend a lot of my time chasing people around.
Yeah. Okay, so I know you mentioned Zillow a few times, so we'll go into the second item on our hit list here, and that's Zillow. So I know you do a lot of Zillow advertising. You get a lot of leads from Zillow. How does that work? I mean, if you want to explain that.
So it's all based off of zip code. You're buying a zip code. Certain areas are going to be more expensive. For me, what I found is if you look for an area that's less expensive near an area that's more expensive, you're going to get a lot of folks coming from that area looking to either invest, or you're going to get people that are moving into the area that want to get in at a better price, especially with how much the Bay Area is expanding right now. People really don't have anywhere else to go, so they're kind of just spilling out into the next spot and the next spot and the next spot. So it's really important to kind of stay ahead of that a little bit, and to try and maybe either buy your investment in Zillow and a less expensive area code, basically.
Interesting. So everyone's always fighting for like the most popular zip codes, and you're basically saying maybe avoid those and go for
right
the ones right outside it.
Yeah. Why not? I mean, there's overflow there. People are spending so much money for those leads. But if you take a look at the whole area, Zillow gives you a map that says, hey, there's this zip code, and this zip code. These ones cost this much, and you can kind of compare them all to each other. And by going just a little bit further out, you're going to get less money that you're spending, and you're going to get more referrals from them. I think like when you pay out in like Orinda Moraga, you're paying like $230 a lead.
Wow.
Yeah, it's something crazy like that. Now you go into a place like, say, like South Richmond. I think South Richmond right now is about like $56 a lead. And you go into a place like North Richmond, you can get them for $9 a lead. Well, everybody's starting to move out that direction. Or even if you look at like Concord, like deep out in Concord, a lot of those are cheaper. You look out in like Antioch, a lot of those are cheaper. But Antioch's going to have that BART train opening up. So by, being out in that area now, when those property values go up and you're locked in at a lower rate with Zillow, now all of a sudden those property values have risen. You own the biggest stake out there, and now that new area that's just popped is yours.
Now, do you sign contracts with Zillow for?
You pay it month to month. If you don't pay, as far as I know, they just kind of cancel it. So
do they ever increase rates on you?
No, I think you lock it in. I don't think mine have ever been raised.
Okay.
It can fluctuate.
How long have you been with them?
Like 2.5 years. But it fluctuates depending on how many people are actually in that area. So think about it as a chart of 300%, right? You know how every time you go on Zillow and you click on something, there's 3 of those people that pop up there?
Yeah.
Okay, so each one of those is 100%. And you can buy as many percent of one of those as you want, or you can buy all 300%. You don't need to have all 3 of them. If you're popping up 1 out of 3 realtors every single time, that's great. So just look to buy 1 full slot in an area that's not like, super jumped off yet, but that's about to, where you can get it at a better price and then just sit on it. So it really just makes sense to look at what Zillow has to offer. I mean, I know a lot of people still go there first. I saw people call me all the time, hey, I was on Zillow, or I'll be talking to somebody random and, hey, I do a lot of my things on Zillow. I hear Realtor.com. I hear, what's the other one? Trulia, Homes, and all that.
So I will say one very interesting fact about Realtor.com. So it'd be very interesting if I can get someone who does both. And do you do Realtor.com?
Mm-mm.
Okay, just Zillow. So check out this stat. They track stats for websites, for all kinds of data. And one of the biggest data trackers is how long people stay on a website. Like and Facebook right now is the #1 website that people stay on, right? because everyone's always on Facebook, mobile,
Right.
whatever. So there's Facebook as number one. I forget who's number two, but it's something like Google, Yahoo, something like that, like a big website that keeps people, search engine, that sort of thing. Number three is Realtor.com,
Huh.
Wow.
which is mind boggling because now Zillow will get a lot more leads or more hits. So they have a lot more traffic on their website. But in terms of keeping people on the website, Realtor.com is number three. Zillow doesn't even come close to
It's
it.
interesting because Zillow is number one as far as like realtors advertising, and then it goes Zillow, Realtor.com, and it goes to Homes.com. I recently signed up with Homes.com just to give it a shot. Um, and it was interesting all the data that they were providing when I was talking to the customer service representative.
Yeah. So I'd be interested to see if you're doing Homes.com, you're doing Zillow, maybe I need to do Realtor.com, and we can all maybe come back in 6 months and compare, because if Realtor.com is really keeping people on the website, that might be the better place to go, especially if it's cheaper.
Well, it would depend on how much the cost is.
Exactly. Yeah.
I know Realtor.com. I see a lot more Realtor.com on like television than I do Zillow. I hear them a lot more on the radio.
I was about to say that.
I've noticed that a lot. Their advertisement for Realtor.com is
huge.
a lot more, and I think that's partially why people are spending more time on it. I still think Zillow has, and I can't really say because I haven't used Realtor that much, but I think Zillow has such a platform that's user friendly. People can just hop on it and zip around, and it's fairly simple. I think.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I might have this information incorrectly here, but I think Zillow, it's been the pioneer as far as advertising real estate out there. So obviously, being the first is everything in any industry. So by them being first, everybody, whenever you ask, out of 10 people or 10 buyers or sellers, they're gonna say, "Well, I found you on Zillow," or "I use Zillow."
Yeah. Next one is, I had Realtor.com, but we kind of matched those two up together there. Oh, what do you think of Zillow Instant Offers? Have you heard about that? Now
I've heard something about it so I don't know what it is, but I've heard of it, and I've heard people don't really like it.
Yeah, it's a test program that they're doing in, I believe, 2 or 3 markets, not anywhere in California, but basically someone, if they want to sell their house, is very similar to the company like Open Door. So I want to sell my house. I go into Zillow. I go to Instant Offers, enter my house address. It pulls up the details of my house, and I submit it to them. Within 24 hours, I get an offer from one of 15 Wall Street banks for my house. Cash offer, 10 or 15-day close. Now, at the same time, they give you a CMA from a Zillow Premier agent. So then you have that CMA from the agent, and the way they advertise it is the bank is not going to pay full market price. They're going to buy it at a 15% discount. Now the agent is only going to charge a 6% discount or 6% commission, and then their CMA is usually going to be higher because they're going to sell it for top market value. So it's very interesting, and I know a lot of people are upset because they think Zillow is trying to weed out agents, but I know Zillow makes all their money off of advertising to agents.
I'll be very happy if I'm a Premier agent, because if they lose the house with the Wall Street bank, if I'm a Premier agent and I'm advertising in that area, more than likely I'm gonna get it.
Yeah, and that's the way I look at it too. But I know a lot of people are really upset, thinking that we might be losing our jobs down the road.
There's no way that this is a people business. I mean, I get that the internet's a really big part of life today, but when you're buying or selling a home, for most people, it's the most important thing in their life. They want a tangible human being. If it's all going to be online, I don't think that that's something that people would want to do. Like, I mean,
especially if they're going to make less money.
Yeah.
Because if my house is worth $400,000 and you give me a CMA that says it's worth $400,000, and then the bank, based on that $400,000, says, well, we'll give you a $350 cash offer. Well, I think most sellers are going to contact that agent and say, hey,
let's list my house.
Exactly.
Correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. So the next one, free advice on forums and online. So do you guys go online and do this?
Nope.
I do not.
You do not.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Is there a reason why you don't?
I kind of feel like life is a forum, I guess, to kind of put it like that. Like you're just always out there putting your business out there, and that's what I do. I mean, for me, I'm not really big on going anywhere other than like you had mentioned, Facebook or maybe like to Zillow or something like that. I mean, for me, I more use my life as a way to kind of put it out there and talk to people about it and kind of let everybody know that I do it. I'm not really big into being in my phone and talking to people that I don't know in some like little room. I feel like I don't know anybody there. You
You
know,
per- and knowing you just over the last few years, you're definitely more face to face. Let me communicate with you in person type of person.
right?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Is there
You're
a
a
reason
little,
why you, Ronald, you
yeah.
don't
I've
go?
I've never really done it, but I also feel like Kyle, like I'm constantly giving advice to people on a daily basis. I mean, you talk to clients, and then they want to sell or they want to buy, and then you help them out on a daily basis. So I'm not close to not do it, but I guess time has been one of my biggest problems.
Yeah, busy.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, and I bring this up because I know a lot of real estate agents will go online, especially Facebook has a ton of groups right now, and people share ideas, get advice, and it's interesting to see the agents that will ask for advice online and not ask for that same advice from their broker first. So it's very interesting where people are going online for information. So that's why I bring it up if that's something that you guys do, but if you don't because you're really busy, then that's a good sign.
Um, Really quick, one thing that I am kind of worried about that could take away from the jobs is I'm in a deal right now where there's actually a seller who's providing all of her own paperwork through a third party who actually just provides the paperwork. Well, for somebody that would have gotten that listing, that's now gone. There's a lot of third parties out there that are now charging, a very small fee where they provide all the paperwork and the
Interesting.
sellers
Yeah.
can go through and do it. And the seller sent me pretty much everything that I needed. And so they're
So I,
becoming a
I
lot.
do want to say one thing on that is when the real estate market goes through cycles, and the last cycle, the one company that was doing a lot of that was very popular was so remember Help You Sell was very popular
Right.
because you pay a very small flat fee. Sometimes it was even like $1,200, but if you wanted disclosures, you wanted this, you wanted that option, they were add-on options, and then you pay additional $500. But they technically didn't represent you beyond whatever service they provided to you, and you still sold it yourself. And so it's interesting when you have markets like this where the prices really go up and there's sales happening, values are when a seller is saying, why am I paying someone 20 grand for one side of a transaction to sell, they're always going to look at different options,
Right.
and options always come up. However, when the market turns around, you see those companies disappear because their business model is basically, hey, we're giving you a flat fee. There's nothing, there's no branding, there's no value added to it beyond that. They're a completely discounted broker.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's interesting that you bring that up because it's very similar to like Help You Sell.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's called like savvylane.com or something like that.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, so I think it's a company like that's going to disappear once the
Okay.
market corrects. But I mean, you always have those. Open houses. Do you guys do open houses?
I got one today.
Hell to the yes.
Yes.
Saturday and Sunday. I think that's where I excel. I mean, most of my business comes from open houses. I love doing open houses because I get to meet people that are interested in like right there buying the house. They're ready to go, and if they're not, you get the opportunity to walk them and hold their hand and walk them through the whole process. And we go back to the advice part. If they're not ready, you tell them what they need in order to get pre-qualified and take it from there to close the transaction.
Okay, let me know if you guys agree with me or disagree with me on this. I think when it comes to an open house, there's a skill set that you have to learn to be good at it. Or is it possible to be bad at open houses?
I mean,
It
anybody
is.
can learn, right?
It is. I think it is possible to be bad. I've seen open houses that I wasn't expected to see, and then I walk in and the realtor's just sitting down there on their phone and not even paying attention to the people that are walking in or out. Um, I'm very interactive when I'm at my open house. I try to get the name of every single person that walks in, and obviously try to get a phone number or an email for a follow up after I close my open house or the following day, to see if I can get them to be my clients. However, if I one of the questions that I ask is if they have a realtor. If they do, I kind of like don't bother them anymore, and then let them see the house, and that's that. So yeah, there is. I think there is a way for someone to be bad at open houses. If you're not friendly, definitely is not going to work for you.
Yeah. The one thing I don't like at open houses, because every now and then I'll swing by on weekends to go look at houses. I think a lot of people just like to do that. And I'm definitely one of those people. But I cannot stand the person who follows you through the house. Like, I'm looking at a house, walking through, but they're literally on you, like right behind you, breathing on you and asking you questions, telling you different features about the house. Like, for me personally, I just want to look at the house. If I have questions, I'll ask.
Yeah, I know for me, like when they come in the door, I kind of introduce myself. I give them a little bit of info on the property, kind of give them some direction as to where everything's at. And then I just let them know, I don't want to be in your guys' space. I want you to enjoy your time here. Go ahead and take a look around. I'll touch base with you before you leave. If they want to sneak out the side gate or if they want to do whatever, that's up to them. I mean, for me, I try and make it as little pressure as possible, while still trying to connect with them. If I see them walking back through, maybe I'll ask where they're at. Like I'll let them go off for a bit. If they walk back through, where are you guys at in your search? Are you just getting started out? Kind of try and feel out, where do you guys live right now? Are you renting? Do you own? Do you need to sell? But never try and push them. I mean, I would hate if I walked in somewhere and someone was just like on me. It's the same thing like when I go to buy a car and I got like 10 guys running up on me. It's like I'm going for the guy that's least bothering me right now.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I approach it.
Okay. Other online techniques for leads. Do you guys do anything else online besides, Zillow, besides
Facebook.
Facebook?
I do Facebook. I blast my open houses on Facebook, and I basically advertise before the open house, to try to reach as many people as possible. And
Have you had people show up to open houses that mention seeing your ad on Facebook?
I have had people from Facebook show up at the open house, and sometimes they call me before the open house to ask me about pricing, even though all that information is on my ad, but it's just a way of getting in touch with the clients. So yeah, I have.
Okay.
Facebook is huge for me.
I know Colin, my business partner, has done it for a couple listings that we've had. But one thing that I found with Facebook is we did get a couple good leads that came from it. There's also just a lot of folks that kind of just came through to come through, which is good. I mean, it kind of creates a little bit more of a buzz at the open house, which is good for the seller. But it also takes away from time a lot. I think it's all about getting quality, pre-qualified people through the door who can make the purchase, and to focus in on them. I get that there's some people that are just starting out, and I will definitely help them if they come to me and they ask me for their help. But I'm out there looking for the person that's already a little bit farther along in the process, who's really committed to it, who's actually looking, because my goal is to help as many homeowners as I possibly can. And so the more time that I'm spending not focusing on the folks that are already making the right moves, the less people have the opportunity to help.
Yeah, makes sense. Door knocking. Do you guys do any door knocking?
Kyle will be a master on that one.
You know what? I've done door knocking. I think really what's important with door knocking is its consistency. If you're going to do it, you have to be committed to it. There's very few people that it works for. It hasn't worked for me. I've done door knocking. I've met people. Actually, I can't say that. I got one out of door knocking.
Okay.
I got a sale out of door knocking, but I mean, you have to be consistent with it. You have to pick 4 areas. You have to hit one area each week, one day dedicated, and you have to do it every single month. And I bet you if you did it for like a year or two, you'd start seeing the rewards from it. But if you do it once or twice here and there, like I have, you might get 1 or 2, but there's not going to be any consistency behind it. So it's going to take dedication. It's going to take 4 days out of every month where you're actually spending 4 hours each day going and knocking on doors.
Okay, and you spend 4 hours each day doing that.
I would usually set out to do 4. I would probably get to like 2.5, and just be over it.
How many houses do you think you hit up in about 4 hours?
So I'd say you're probably looking at about like maybe 40 in an hour if you're genuinely knocking each door, trying to get people to the door. If you're just breezing through, knocking on them real quick, trying to see if someone comes and heading out, you could probably do 1 every minute. It also depends on the density of the area, how far you have to walk to the next door. It depends on, are you in a flat neighborhood? Are you in a hilly neighborhood? Those hilly neighborhoods, I'm done after like an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah.
But I mean, you might get a higher price point if that's what you're doing. But it's really all about the dedication and staying consistent with it. I think that there's only a few people out there that really make a living off of door knocking, and it's because that's their business. So
You
And it's
may-
just being consistent.
it's total consistency.
That's the key word. I was gonna just piggyback on that. Consistency and persistency. I've never done it.
Is there a
never-
reason why you haven't done it?
I don't think I have the personality for it. I think that I feel like if I go and knock on doors, I feel like I'm invading in their privacy, and I'm a very laid back sales guy, so I don't know. I feel like I would kind of like pressure on them. If it is my neighborhood and people know me, I will feel more comfortable. But if I go out of my area to a completely new area, I think I'll be awkward. So that's
Yeah.
why I haven't
That's the
done it.
best place to practice, though. Practice outside of your area, so when you do go knocking in your area, you're used to it, because it's also about having the script down.
Yeah.
You have to know what you're saying. You've got a very
True.
small window before this person either like tells you to screw off or that they're not interested. So it's all about capturing their attention right away and having the right questions to ask them, and knowing, like, where are you guys at? How long have you guys been here? Try and fill out their situation a little bit.
Yeah, you definitely have to go prepared with a script and really have a plan.
Oh yeah, 110%. You got to stick to it.
Yeah. I saw an agent, he had an article written about him and about door knocking, and it was very interesting because he would go door knocking. If they were not home, he would leave like a door hanger on the front door, but this door hanger would throw people online. So he did, instead of, hey, call me, I'm the local expert, that sort of thing, he would have specific website for that property where they can go and check details about their property. So it was very interesting advertising, very unique, but he didn't do that with, so he picked very small pocket neighborhoods where he could create all these different websites for the homes and have individual customized info. And if they're not home, he leaves the door hanger with their info and the website to go to. It was very interesting, and I know he picked up quite a bit of leads that way. Yeah. So
Something to think about.
yeah, for sure. Pinterest.
No, never
You guys do
used it.
Pinterest?
Not once in my life.
Nope,
Okay, so
not at all.
in your guys' experience in working with couples that are home buying or home selling, what's the percentage where the woman is the decision maker?
All the time, I'm gonna say.
All the time. So the majority of Pinterest users
Or women.
are women. So why are we not advertising and doing stuff on Pinterest?
Interesting point.
Right?
What
I
is
don't know.
Pinterest?
Okay, so
I mean,
yeah.
like,
Welcome.
yeah, what is
Yeah.
Pinterest?
My wife is on it all the time.
Is
I mean,
she? Okay.
it's a website that correct me if I'm wrong, because I think you're gonna have a lot more information. But my wife goes on Pinterest all the time for decorative pieces for the house and to get ideas how to decor the house, and also because my wife has a staging business, she gets a bunch of ideas of how to decor different houses that she does.
Okay. So we're 30 minutes in. Kyle, you have to go. I know you've got an open house to run off to.
Yeah, I've also got to go open a door for some clients for a verification. So
Okay. Yeah, no problem. Thanks for coming.
thank you.
We'll finish this up with Ronald and I.
Cool.
Okay. So so Pinterest. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Kim's on it all the time. She looks at it for food. She looks at it for tattoos, pictures, that sort of thing. But yeah, it's very interesting where I want to say it's 80 or 85% of the users on Pinterest are women, and women tend to be the decision makers amongst couples in home buying, home
Yeah.
selling, and it just makes sense, I think, to then do something on Pinterest as far as advertising. Now it's a little unique because you can't just advertise posts. You have to have a certain, I think actually for you, what would be great is if you have a home staging page
Yeah.
on Pinterest. I
I,
think
I think that is definitely something that I will mention to my wife. And then it's interesting you mentioned Pinterest because she's on that thing all the time,
yeah.
all the time. And the fact that women make the decisions on buying a house, I mean, now makes me think that I definitely have to jump on Pinterest and try to advertise with them.
Yeah, I
But I've
think
never seen it.
yeah, I think for you guys, being that she does staging, you could easily create a staging page on Pinterest and then use that to funnel leads over to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, agent websites or online chatting. I know there's certain websites that have online chat features, but this topic, I really want to focus on an agent website. So, do you have your own website?
I am creating my own
You're
website
creating
right
one,
now.
okay.
I'm still working on that. As far as online chat, I'm not part of any of that as of now.
Okay. What made you decide to build your own agent website?
Well, I think that if I have my own website, I can direct traffic through my website, but I sort of have already something happening with Facebook, and you direct traffic through that, but also having your own website with you create your own brand, and by creating your own brand, people are gonna know who you are, and also linking your website with different sites such as Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, and all of this website makes a better um, content and information for people to find you and know who you are.
Yeah, it's an interesting debate too because you have a lot of agents that they don't build their own website because they figure, oh, well, my company has a website, but then many companies, their websites are not the best. They kind of suck, or they don't even focus around the agent. And I think name branding in this business is huge because really, if someone calls you up to do business, they're calling you, like they're calling Ronald Garcia to sell their house. They're not
Exactly.
really calling Security Pacific to sell a
Absolutely.
house. Yeah. And so I think name branding is key in this business, and so many people do not do name branding.
I'm gonna
Now, now are you going with like a cookie cutter type of generic website, or are you getting a custom built website?
custom build. I think the key is to be obviously different than everybody else, and also one interesting thing nowadays is that before anybody buys or sells a house, they do a ton of research on at least 2 to 3 agents before they go with you or anybody else. And especially millennials buying a house, everything it's online. Nothing. It's hardly ever. I think nowadays you will get a walk in into your office and people are gonna say, "Hey, I'm looking for Ronald." You're always gonna get contacted through a website or Facebook.
Yeah. The final topic, Twitter.
Twitter.
Do,
I
do you have a Twitter?
I do not have a Twitter account, and I need to create one. Um, and obviously, time it's been the biggest issue for me. Thank God I've been really busy, but definitely I think it's definitely a tool that needs to be used or utilized in order to generate more buzz and business.
Yeah, I like Twitter. I mean, I keep it active because you can link up Twitter to like your Facebook accounts, websites, that sort of thing, so that when you post something on Facebook, it automatically posts on your Twitter account.
Hmm.
Same thing with Instagram, that sort of thing. So I personally don't do a lot of native uploading or posting to Twitter. Where I like to use Twitter is a little bit in a different way. Twitter has, because most accounts are going to be public, there's very few accounts that are private.
Hmm.
So the way I like to use Twitter is to go into their search engine and search up conversations and keywords of people discussing various things, and you just jump right into the conversation and answer a question. There's people that will be talking about they want to buy a house, but they need to save up for it or whatever the case is. But you can look up keywords and jump in on those conversations and just say, hey, if if you need some extra tools, here's the website go to, for lending or something, but you give them a little bit of value. And it's so easy to jump into so many different conversations that's the way, because that's the way the platform was built. That's where I like to use it. And sometimes eventually, it goes back to consistency, but eventually you get some leads out of it.
Have you?
I have. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I have. But you literally jump into certain conversations, and many times these conversations are being held across the US or even across the world. But the fact that you actually gave, an answer to somebody's question on Twitter and they weren't really seeking for your opinion, they're okay with that. And then it's funny how sometimes they're like, oh, well, here's a realtor in the Bay Area, and then word of mouth and it's very interesting
They
how
would
Twitter
automatically
works.
become your follower, or they will talk about you in order to.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's a platform that a lot of people still don't understand, because it's much like I don't want to say it like a gossip column, but it's very casual, laid back conversations, very short tweets back and forth. So it's interesting to actually market and brand your name on that platform, but it's also fun too. I follow a lot of Twitter accounts, and I think I waste maybe an hour a day just on Twitter.
Well, maybe if you waste an hour, you're able to generate a lead just by doing that. So you're never really wasting time.
True. I want to thank you, and unfortunately Kyle left earlier, but I want to thank Kyle DeGennaro and Ronald Garcia for being here on this podcast, first episode of Real Estate at Large. And why don't you go ahead and tell people your phone number if they want to contact you, if they're interested in home buying, home selling, and your wife does staging too. So if anyone out there wants to get their home staged for a rental or a listing, that sort of thing, make sure to contact Ronald.
Absolutely. Once again, my name is Ronald Garcia, and my phone number is 650-804-5287, and my wife's staging business is Designed to Show, and her number is 415-713-8049. Thanks for having me.
Perfect. Thank you. I really, really want to thank all of you for listening. It means the world to me, and I hope today's episode provides you value in your day-to-day life. I created this podcast to help showcase the many great people that live in this world and help share some knowledge that I've learned along the way in life. Again, thank you for listening. Check out our sponsors, and I'll catch you on the next episode.